Hi, grade 4 learners, welcome back to science class. Let us review our lesson last week. The main source of light is the sun. Light is our gateway to the beautiful things around us. There are three different ways that heat can move around from one place to another. The three methods are the following: conduction, convection, and radiation. When we say conduction, it is the molecular contact. Convection, it is the density differences. And radiation, it is the waves. Heat can help us in our daily life. It helps us cook food, gives us warmth during the cold days, dries up our warm clothes. It helps keep Earth warm enough for all living things to live. Now, let's talk about the sound. When you are at home, what sounds do you usually hear? Is it the sound of a television or radio? How about when you are outside? Is it the sound of the moving vehicles or barking dogs? We know that sound is also important to us, like light and heat energy. Let's get to know more about sound energy. Do you know how to play a musical instrument like a guitar? Have you heard someone play it? A guitar produces sound when its strings are plucked or strummed. Yes, this causes the string to vibrate, which sends sound into the air until it reaches to our ears. Aside from the air, sound can also travel through solid and liquid objects. Sound also have their own characteristics. Some sounds can be described as relaxing or soothing. These are called the pleasant sounds. On the other hand, some sounds are irritating or painful to hear. These are called unpleasant sounds. How can we produce sounds? Sounds can be produced naturally or artificially. Natural sounds can be heard from living things like animals and plants, as well as the environment. Examples of this are the sounds from animals, rustling of leaves, blowing wind, and raindrops. On the other hand, artificial or man-made sounds include the sounds from musical instruments, airplanes, cars, television, and music players. Sounds are useful because it allows us to communicate with each other. It helps us understand the people around us. Sounds can also help cheer up a person. By creating a pleasant sounds, using musical instruments is a good recreational activity. Sounds can also be used for medical purposes, like using ultrasound to check the baby in the mother's womb, or to see if the internal organs of a person are healthy. How to protect yourself from very loud sounds? Okay, you need to cover. Yes, very good. Cover your ears when you hear loud sounds. Use protective ear muffs to lessen the sounds. Avoid using headphones at full volume. It may damage your eardrum. And most importantly, rest your ears from your headphones every once in a while. Yes, once in a while. So there you have it. You just learned a lot about the three forms of energy: the light, the heat, and the sound energy. Now let's talk about simple machines. A simple machine is a device that makes work easier by magnifying or changing the direction of a force. That means that simple machines allow someone to do the same work with less effort. Simple machines have been known since prehistoric times and were used to help build the amazing structures left behind by ancient cultures. The Greek philosopher Archimedes identified the three simple machines more than 2,000 years ago: the lever, pulley, and screw. He discovered that a lever would create a mechanical advantage, which means that using a lever would allow a person to move something that would normally be too heavy for them to shift. Archimedes said that with a long enough lever and a place to rest, a person could move the world. Over the next few centuries, more simple machines were recognized, but it was less than 450 years ago that the last of the simple machines, the inclined plane, was identified. There are 6 types of simple machines. We have lever, wheel and axle, pulley, inclined plane, wedge, and screw. Pulleys, wheel and axle, are both a type of lever. Wedges and screw are both types of inclined planes. Each type of simple machine has a specific purpose and way they help do work. Speaking of simple machines, work means using energy to move an object across a distance. The farther you have to move the object, the more energy it takes to move it. Let's see how each type of simple machine helps do work. First, lever. It is a tool like a bar or rod that sits and turns on a fixed support called a fulcrum. When you use a lever, you apply a small force over a long distance, and the lever converts it to a larger force over a short distance. Some examples: we have seesaw and crowbar. Next, wheel and axle. It is easy to recognize. It consists of a wheel with a rod in the middle. You probably already know that it's easier to move something heavy if you can put it in something with wheels, but you might not know why. For one thing, using wheels reduces the friction or resistance between surfaces, between the load and the ground. Secondly, much like the lever, a smaller force applied to the rim of the wheel is converted to a larger force traveling a smaller distance at the axle. Wheel and axle are used for machines such as cars, bicycles, and scooters, but they are also used in other ways, like doorknobs and pencil sharpener. Pulley is a machine that uses a wheel with a rope wrapped around it. The wheel often has a groove in it, which the rope fits into one end of the rope goes around the load, and the other end is where you apply the force. Pulleys can be used to move loads or change the direction of the force you are using, and help make work easier by allowing you to spread a weaker force out along a longer path to accomplish a job. By linking multiple pulleys together, you can do the same job with even less force, because you are applying the force along a much longer distance. Pulleys may be used to raise and lower the flags, blinds, or sails, and are used to help raise and lower the elevators. Inclined plane is a flat surface with one end higher than the other. Inclined planes allow loads to slide up to a higher level instead of being lifted, which allows the work to be accomplished with a smaller force spread over a longer distance. You may recognize an inclined plane as a simple machine used in ramps or in slides. Wedge is simply two inclined planes placed back to back. It is used to push two objects apart. A smaller force applied to the back of the wedge is converted to a greater force in a small area at the tip of the wedge. Examples: axes, knives, and chisels. Screw is basically an inclined plane wrapped around a pole. Can be used to hold things together or to lift things. Just like the inclined plane, the longer the path the force takes, the less force is required to do the work. Screw with more threads take less force to do a job, since the force has to travel a longer distance. Examples: we have nuts, bolts, jar lids, and light bulbs. The 6 simple machines can be combined to form compound or complex machines, and are considered by some to be the foundation of all machinery. For example, a wheelbarrow is made of levers combined with a wheel and axle. A pair of scissors is another complex machine. 2 blades are wedges, but they are connected by a lever that allows them to come together and cut. We use simple machines to help us do work every day. Every time you open a door or a bottle, cut up your food, or even just climb stairs, you are using simple machines. That's all for today. I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.